For more, let's bring in former Deputy Treasury Secretary and America First Policy Institute American Prosperity Co-Chair, Michael Faulkender. Michael, thank you for joining us. The president has made a lot of progress domestically in bringing manufacturing and a lot of commerce back to the United States. If this ruling doesn't go in his favor, does that weaken one of the tools that helps him protect domestic industry?
So the 122 tariffs, as your reporter just said, can only be in place for 150 days. They're a stopgap measure in between when the Supreme Court reversed the IEEPA tariffs and until the Commerce Department and the U.S. Trade Representative can finish their investigations to invoke Sections 232 and 301. So they are not part of the long-term tariff strategy in order to finalize new trade negotiations with our partners and allies around the world. They're a temporary measure until the more bureaucratic process of these other tariff authorities can be implemented.
Why would they sue, Michael? It doesn't seem like it's not pure hardship based on the states or these small businesses. It's just, well, these are Democrat states.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm more the economist than the lawyer, but it's not clear to me at all what harm the states are incurring from this. I'm a little more sympathetic to a business that's perhaps paying the tariff, but why this is harming the individual states is something I can't really, I don't have a good explanation for you.
Yeah, I would imagine that their idea is that they want to look good with their constituents, and we know that some businesses have struggled through this process, and maybe they feel like they need to carry the water.
Right.
All right.
Yeah, this sounds just like another reason to go after, this is just another reason for Democrats to go after the president.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's move on to a different topic. Consumer inflation soars to 3.3 in March, led by energy. I don't know that I would call it soaring, but I would call it up. And we know it's because of the Iranian piece. What are your thoughts there?
That's right. I mean, if you take out the increase in oil and the energy price component, I would be very happy with this inflation report because all of the other components came in very strong. Food prices did not move for the month. Prescription drug prices actually fell last month, only the second time in the last many years that we've seen a month-over-month drop in that. And if you look at the time frame that Kevin Hassett just talked about in your previous piece for when the situation in the Middle East is going to be resolved, we would anticipate that there'd be a full reversal on the oil price and gas price increases that drove this month's report. And so that, coupled with the strong progress that was made on all of the other segments of the report, seem to suggest that inflation is coming down and durably coming down. And I would think that that's good news for the Fed once this oil situation gets resolved.
What's soaring? I just want to say to say that it is soaring if it goes from 2.4% inflation to 3.3%.
Yes, but with energy being what it is, being the main driver of it, we know that's transitory. So I want to make sure that people don't all of a sudden, the Democrats aren't saying, see, we told you, look at what would happen.
People are already, and I'm going to ask Michael a question on this. I know that consumer confidence measures, consumer sentiment measures, there's much debate among economists of their validity, but the University of Michigan confidence report fell to the lowest on record, dating back to at least the late 70s, Michael. And just across the board, does that worry you about a change in behavior among consumers and among Americans? And it was directly in relation to the jump in gasoline prices.
Right, but again, as you kind of premised in your question, we have not seen there be much of a relationship between the consumer sentiment measures coming out of the University of Michigan and actual consumption. And so I don't see it as a harbinger of a slowdown in consumption. And in terms of just the overall increase, let me say the core increase in the CPI was just 0.2%. So again, if we strip out the piece we knew was coming, The rest of the consumer basket looked like it performed pretty well. And so once it all comes down to resolving this situation in the Gulf and getting oil flowing again through the Strait of Hormuz. Once the president succeeds in that mission, I think you're going to see prices come down and inflation is going to be in a good spot.
Michael, I want to challenge that. You said that consumption hasn't been impaired. I mean, the growth in the country is a little slower. While still positive, it's a little slower. I don't think voters that are going to go to the poll in 5 or 6 months are going to agree that everything's just the same. I want to get some clarity from you on that when you say that consumption is totally fine.
No, I didn't say that. What I said was the correlation between the Consumer Sentiment Index at the University of Michigan and consumption, that correlation has gone away.
Correct.
Yes, it's the case that high gas prices feed into household budgets and reduce their consumption, but in terms of how much that predicts, Dagan's question about how much that's going to predict a future slowdown, that has not been showing up in the data.
Well, their industrial economy is in fuego. You see it in trucking and in freight. And the Dow Transports earlier today, I think, hit an all-time high. And those stocks were up 6.5% this week. So there's something good going on in the fine United States of America. Michael Faulkender, great to see you.
Thanks, Michael.